All right, everyone. Today is a tough one. This is Nathan Lindorf with The Rational Independent. And today's Reddit rant, we address the recent shooting in Nashville. For those of you living under a rock, we've had another school shooting in Nashville. A 28-year-old person shot up the school, killed 3 9-year-old children and 3 teachers or staff. This is a tragedy. There is evil in the world, and evil does terrible things. And when evil acts, good people suffer. That is an unfortunate reality that we live in. So here's my question for you. Do you really believe you can live in a world where you can eliminate the evil in a man's heart? I don't. We live in a fallen world. We live in a world surrounded by people who have both potential for good and evil in their hearts. You can't fix that with legislation. Even if you could wave a magic wand as a politician and eliminate all legal gun ownership, shoot, let's just magically uninvent gunpowder and eliminate all guns from America. Could you eliminate the evil? No. They just choose a different tool. I forget the year, but it wasn't that long ago, in the grand scheme of things, when a terrorist killed dozens of people with a moving truck. Do we outlaw moving trucks? Go back to horse and buggy? Here's my 2 cents. Most of the laws on the books regarding guns are stupid and counterproductive. When you look at weapons, when you look at guns, statistically speaking, if you're willing to look at the actual data, they do far more good than harm. If you look, the CDC studied defensive uses of firearms used to prevent violence, and found orders of magnitude more incidents where they were used defensively than where they were used offensively. In addition, if you look at the total number of gun deaths in America and you strip out suicides, which is a problem, but a separate problem, and gang violence, which largely stems from federal legislation on the distribution of drugs. If you strip those 2 things out, that takes about 90% of the deaths by guns in a year. Statistically speaking, while it is a tragedy that people are killed in school shootings are the vast, narrowing, slimmest percentage of people who actually die by gun violence in a given year. It is a burden for those who are willing to critically think, to look past the emotional impact of a tragedy like this and look at what actually makes the most rational sense. Most of the media, not all that interested. Speaking of which, let's dive into it. Today's Reddit rant, Business Insider, Congressman who represents the Nashville district involved in deadly school shooting posted a gun-toting family photo for Christmas in 2021. So as I said before, if you don't want it on the internet forever, if you don't want it read aloud in court or to your spouse, don't put it in writing. The internet is forever. So a Tennessee lawmaker, again, this is a local politician. This is not a federal person of notoriety on a federal level, even though this article is written for a national news outlet. A Tennessee lawmaker who on Monday offered his thoughts and prayers to families of the victims of a deadly school shooting in his district sent out a 2021 Christmas message featuring a photo of his gun-toting family. This is Representative Andy Ogles, posted a statement on Twitter, talk about the victims, families are devastated, sending thoughts and prayers. People on Twitter, of course, responded by saying, please apologize for your Christmas card because it's terrible and offensive. Spokesman for Ogles did not respond, so we don't have any comments from him. And of course, there's allegations from Business Insider that Ogles embellished many aspects of his resume, including his history in law enforcement and his role in combating international sex trafficking. That's the whole article, basically. Not a lot of substance there. If you keep doing what you've been doing, you're going to keep getting what you've been getting. We on the right who support gun ownership, let's call it that. We on the right support gun ownership And we basically say, here are some facts. Here's my reasoning. Here's my rationale. My facts don't care about your feelings. And on the left, they look for the most inflammatory anecdotal evidence of gun misuse. And they say, look at this horrible tragedy and the feelings it evokes. These feelings need to override your facts. That is the proverbial unstoppable force meeting immovable object. That it isn't going to accomplish anything other than foster conflict, frustration. We need a better way forward. If you're on the left and you're willing to listen to this, God bless you. Most won't. But if you are, understand that if you are not willing to engage with the realities, if you are not willing to look at the actual numbers, the actual data, the actual moral justifications for personal private citizen gun ownership, if you aren't willing to engage with that, you are never going to get your opponents shoved off their high horse. They're not going to move. And frankly, I don't think they should. And if you're on the right and you're listening to this, bless you. It is important to defend the moral principle that each individual citizen has a right to protect themselves. That's absolutely true. At the same time, we live in a fallen world and evil is real. And a person who feels that evil in a tragedy like this and wants to prevent it from happening again, that impulse to prevent this tragedy is a good thing. We should find unity there and look for ways to actually prevent these things. We need to find a way to come together on this because nobody wants more school shootings. So how do we come together? How do we tell a united story? How do we change our society to get something different than what we've been getting? Let's start with the tough talk. Let's start with a measured dose of reality. You can't fix gun violence through legislation. It's impossible. Gun violence stems from a variety of reasons, but people resort to violence when their words fail. So living in a society that refuses to rationalize its thoughts, that refuses to resolve its dilemmas peacefully, you are going to foster more violence. Further, this kind of high-profile mass shooting where someone gets as armed as they can and goes after those who are as innocent and vulnerable as they can. This particular type of psychosis, it's horrendous, it's evil, it's real. It largely, if not stems from, it is definitely enabled by mental disease. We have a real problem with mental illness in this country, and you can't fix that with legislation either. There are people in our society whose brains don't work the way they should, who don't interpret reality correctly. I had an aunt who was a paranoid schizophrenic. Love her dearly. I couldn't help her by engaging with her delusions. If I tried to help her by acknowledging that her delusions were real, that there really were detectives sent by the government come to sabotage her water heater, I'm not helping her. I'm harming her by fostering that self-delusion. What we're finding out as a society is that self-delusion is contagious, especially when it is not only enabled, but praised. It does not surprise me that the person who did this shooting appears to be someone who is transgender. Transgenderism is a delusion. We are all of us uncomfortable in our bodies sometimes. We are all of us frustrated with this world and our experience in it. We are all of us depressed sometimes. Welcome to the human race. As a wise man once said, life is pain. Anyone who says differently is selling something. It's okay to be uncomfortable with your life, with your body. It is a fool's errand to try and solve that comfort, scratch that itch, resolve that pain by embracing your delusion. I can have sympathy for those who are deluded. It's a very uncomfortable place to be. But it doesn't surprise me that a person who is interpreting reality incorrectly would then choose to act out in such a horrendous way. So what can we do to make this better? Well, I have an unpopular solution, or rather, it's a good solution, but the left isn't going to like it. The solution is not more guns. Sorry, those on the right, we have plenty. The solution to school shootings is pretty simple. Eliminate gun-free zones. They're probably unconstitutional if you look at it. But if you set aside gun-free zones, if you really look at what gun-free zones do, all they really do is give a greater degree of certainty that someone who wants to do evil isn't going to be shot at. No one's going to shoot back. It's a shooting gallery. If you are a school shooter, if you are wanting to cause mass death, nobody who is so psychotic that they want to go out in a blaze of glory and cause mass death goes to the local gun range or police station and says, I'm going to shoot as many people as I can, because people shoot back and it's over very quickly. They go where people are the most vulnerable. Our children are vulnerable. Agreed. You know how you make them less vulnerable? Not gun-free zones. Sorry, guys. It doesn't work. Statistics back that up. An overwhelming majority of mass shootings occur in gun-free zones. In other words, the marketplace is telling you, the legislation that creates gun-free zones has this idea. We're going to create these safety zones, and then people will be safe in these zones. That'll be good. We'll have nice, free, fluffy, safe zones. In reality, those zones are where the danger is, because they are targeted. Everyone knows where they are. So they are targeted by crazies who want to harm as many people as possible. Eliminate gun-free zones. The legislative idea, well-intended though it may have been, failed horribly. As you may know, I have young children, and they go to school. And they're actually split between two schools right now for a variety of reasons. Two of them go to a public school here in Jefferson County. Jefferson County recently had a school shooting. Other side of town, thankfully, Denver had a school shooting. But that could have just easily been my kid's school. It happens. Crazy people come. That's a vulnerability. I worry about those kids. I can't protect them. I entrust them to the school, and I hope they're there when I go to pick them up. It's kind of a crazy bargain, but there it is. My younger two go to a charter school. Guess what's on the sign of the charter school? Armed staff on premises. This charter school allows teachers to opt in and volunteer to conceal carry while on campus. And they make that fact known. Now, they also secure all the exterior doors. They also supervise the children when they're outside at play. There's also good radio communication and protocols and ways to allow visitors in and out safely. They're doing the right thing. They take it seriously. Now, ask me this. Which children am I more worried about? Which school is more vulnerable? The school where none of the teachers are armed, where access to the facility is kind of controlled, but kind of not, because it's an older building and, there's lots of entrances and egresses? Or the school where if I'm a crazy person and I say, I'm going to go shoot up that school, I'm not sure I can get in. And if I could get in, I'm not sure if I'm going to encounter an armed teacher who shoots back. I don't think I'm going to pick that target. Next year, if I can swing it, guess where all 4 kids are going? It's not the public school. Everyone has to make their own decisions. And there is no clear-cut right or wrong. And goodness knows, left and right are deeply entrenched on this issue. It is tiresome to look at the narrative and say, curse you for your thoughts and prayers. That's useless. You need to agree with me politically in order to solve this issue. It's tripe. It's nonsense. It's manipulation of the highest order. It is standing on the graves of children to accomplish a political end. It's evil. And it's one of the reasons why I have no respect for mainstream journalism. Because this article was well received on the left. Got a lot of traffic on Reddit. A lot of people said, yeah, you go. Look at that terrible Republican congressman. Not even a congressman. Some kind of state representative. Truth is, that guy that posted the video, the Christmas photo with all of his family armed, if I'm a robber, am I going to go do a home invasion on his house? No. Because they're going to shoot back. It's as simple as that. If you remove the ability for crazy people to know where the soft targets are, you will make this situation better. And that's my 2 cents. So, everyone, thank you for sticking with me. That was today's Reddit rant. I know it was a bit more somber and dark than usual, but this is a tough topic. There's really no easy solutions here. But we'll find a way forward together. Anyway, good luck out there.